My name is Delaney Schlesinger-Devlin, and today I'm here in South Hall with our professor of French language and culture.
Cary, Campbell, hi. So I've been a professor here. What I'm supposed to give my title? Oh wow! So it's assistant professor of French, but really my PhD training is in West African literature written in French. I did a master's that straddled linguistics and literature, and a BA with a double major, so linguistics and French. I've been here since 2013, so that's 10 years now.
Why did you want to be a language professor?
I don't know how deep you want to get into my life story, but I started as a physics major, which is kind of a jump.
You're not teaching physics.
Yeah, no, I always thought I had a head for, math and science, and I spent 2 years serving a mission. It was a religious experience, but it wasn't, it was a 2-year thing. So not the weekend helping build houses. It's a full 2 years living with the people, living as they live. It was in Côte d'Ivoire. So West Africa is a culture completely different from the Canada I grew up in. And I was amazed at the variety of languages spoken there, just the massive diversity of it. There were 60 different languages in a country of about 13 million. And, with my experience between Canadian and American cultures, that just seemed insane to me that everybody knew like 4 languages and like it was nothing. Got interested in what was it that made that diversity happen? What makes languages tick?
How in the world did you become a language professor here, specifically at Antioch?
So Antioch was rebooting. What was it, 2008, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things they did when they did the reboot was they decided they would set off a bunch of little sort of commissions to think about what kind of university they wanted to make from the ground up. Just if we created one from scratch, how would we do it? And they set some language scholars up, or people to investigate how they would do a language program. They were doing something right about languages. All the rest of those recommendations are things that we've kept. Things like not caring so much about how much time you spend in your seat as the language requirement. Rather, asking if you could talk to a third party and have them understand what you're saying on a topic that you didn't plan together. Actual proficiency in the language is what we are testing, and that changes everything about how we teach from the ground up. My focus is less on what did I cover, and it's more on what can you do after these 50 minutes that you couldn't before. And so by that way you proceed from skill to skill, because language is a skill. It's not how much time do you spend in your seat. Look at this program. Like every other university in the entire country still thinks that making you sit for a year in a seat is all they want for their language requirement. These people actually want to make sure you can talk with people by the time you're done. That was a big deal for me, seeing that they had, and we've known, the research has shown for 30 years that that's how languages need to be taught. But sclerotic universities elsewhere don't want to get rid of the old ways. Mm-hmm. So because of this reboot, because they're doing languages right, I was like, yes, I want that place.
Why do you think it is important to study language and culture, and how do you promote that idea in your classroom and in your teaching?
I said before with a prior question that I feel like Antioch is doing languages right. And it was exciting for me to come here because they weren't stuck in an old system. And I believe that. I think we really are aiming at helping students. Our minimum requirement is that they pass what they call an oral proficiency interview done by a third-party group called the ACTFL, the American Council for the Teaching of Foreign Languages, right? And, they don't care what textbook you use. They don't care what teacher you had. They don't care how long you've learned languages. And we try not to either. You could learn languages any way you want. There's lots of great apps out there. There's lots of, why come to a classroom, Because we know what we're doing. Because we're actually half decent at this. We've learned the skill of teaching language. It's important because we have a real goal of helping students connect with people that don't think like them, people that don't talk like them, people that have to format their thoughts differently to express them. And it forces our students to gain those skills to be able to interact one on one with somebody of difference. And, we value that diversity. I think it's important not only if you end up doing an immersion experience for your co-op where you get to actually talk with people. I think it's important even if you never get a chance to use your French again. Why? Because you're going to have parallel situations all along your life where people of difference that don't think like you, that don't communicate like you, you have to learn to deal with them and live like human beings together and be peaceful and understand another's perspective. And taking that skill of getting at least some proficiency in a language allows you to either progress in that language or access those parallel situations with the differences you do have to live with, whether they be racial, ethnic, sexual, whatever else. How do I do it in the classroom? Well, we use what we call a communicative approach. It doesn't define a set of methodologies, but it does give sort of an orientation. We're not so much concerned that you regurgitate on an exam what the form of the verb is. We will teach you conjugation in service of completing an actual task in language. And so with a task-based goal, with a functional goal for every class, we sort of treat language more precisely as it should be considered, which is as a skill. And we move you from success to success, and we help you gain confidence in yourself from success to success as you gain ability in that skill. In level appropriate ways, I am always going to be dragging bits and pieces, items. I'm not just going to bring up shirt and pants in the clothing class where we talk about clothing vocabulary. I actually will bring in an African boo-boo and show you what that looks like and that there's different words, right? And then we'll talk for a minute about why Paris is a center of fashion, whereas not Columbus probably isn't. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we'll get a chance to kind of season each lesson with a level appropriate cultural content. At first, that cultural content is very basic and looks like just layering facts upon facts. As you get into the more and more advanced language courses where you can actually develop opinions, evaluate hypotheses, defend your assertions on the fly, you'll actually be taking content mostly in culture, whether that be historical culture, whether that be literary culture, whether that be visual culture. I've done a media class. So more and more the content moves toward let's learn what French products, practices, and perspectives are so that we can use those as a subject matter to continue developing our skill of Frenchian.